What if you realized that a majority of your life is actually lived on autopilot in subconscious and unconscious patterns? It's an entire program, it's an entire system based in childhood, right? This is based in the trauma that you experienced. Imagine you realize that throughout your entire life, you've been doing things that you don't actually want to do. And I'm not talking about, laundry. I'm not talking about cleaning up the house. I'm not talking about any of that stuff. I'm talking about things that you learned that you had to do in survival to gain approval, to gain validation, to gain love, right? These are survival based dynamics that you are probably still carrying out because you're still living in survival because it's comfortable and familiar and it feels safe and it feels like that's what you're supposed to be doing. This is repetition compulsion, right? We carry out the same familiar and comfortable behaviors on a subconscious and unconscious program because it's what we learned. It's what we learned we're supposed to do, right? And to break that pattern means to realize that you're doing it. But you have to realize it in order to break it, right? So have you ever gotten the inclination that you're doing things throughout your day-to-day life that you just don't want to do, that you don't feel connected to? Maybe you don't feel connected to yourself. Maybe you don't really know who you are. It's quite likely. Repetition compulsion is kind of like a ghost, right? It's controlling the scene, but you don't even know it's there because you're not aware of it because you're asleep. You're on autopilot. You're carrying out the same functions each and every single day without even realize what it is that you're doing. And of course, you're not going to feel connected to it because you're pretty much asleep, right? You're plugged into the matrix. And until you wake up from that, you're only going to continue doing the same thing over and over again. You're only going to continue feeling the same familiar emotions, the same, thinking the same familiar thoughts, doing the same familiar things, getting the same familiar results. But to wake up from that means to dissolve that entity, to dissolve that dynamic, to dissolve that program, that system, right? Repetition compulsion is a real thing, and the more I've healed, the more I've realized that that's basically what autopilot is, right? Maybe you're dissociated and you're just kind of like wandering around in space and you're just spaced out and you don't even really know what you're doing, right? It's a wild thing to wake up from repetition compulsion, which is basically autopilot. It's a wild thing to wake up and realize that you've been doing the same fucking thing every single day, but you don't really consent to it. You don't consent to it at all. You're just doing it because it's comfortable and familiar and it feels safe. It's a wild experience, it really is. Self awareness is the solution to this. To start questioning things, to start questioning yourself, to start questioning your attachments, to start questioning who the fuck it is that, or I shouldn't say who, what it is that guides you, what it is that drives you, right? What is it that thrives you? I swear I'm not trying to rhyme. These are all just things that are coming out, right? Why do you do what you do? Do you know? Have you ever asked yourself that? Have you ever sat down with yourself and took out a journal and started writing and started learning about yourself? What are the roots of you? What are the roots of your behaviors? What are the roots of your thoughts? What are the roots of your emotions? What is it that you're being used by? Because there's a good chance that you are being used by comfortable and familiar thoughts, feelings, and behaviors that you may very well not even be interested in partaking in. You're just doing it because it's what you learn to do. Oh, this is just the way that I've been. Oh, my parents did it this way, so I'm going to do it that way. Becoming aware of these things is very essential because it helps you to understand yourself. And then you can actually separate yourself from these things and choose to change the way that you do things. It's not good or bad or right or wrong, but if you want to live this way and you're currently living this way, there's a blockage there, right? If you want healthy relationships, but all you've ever known is unhealthy relationships, there's a blockage there. And that repetition compulsion is to look at, right? Maybe you want healthy relationships, but you're attracted to chaos. What a paradox, right? Maybe you want a happier and healthier life, but you're attracted to things that are not compatible with that. For instance, masochism, sadism. It's not good or bad or right or wrong, but it's not healthy, right? You're asleep until you're awake. Repetition compulsion is metaphorically being asleep, letting your younger self drive the fucking vehicle. When I say younger self, I'm actually referring to the little you. The little you that was traumatized, the little you that was marred and scathed and had the shit kicked out of him or her, right? And that little entity is the one driving the vehicle. Ah! Right? Yeah. And until you realize that, that little you is going to continue driving that vehicle and wrecking fucking absolute disastrous havoc in your life, in every area, because that's the way that it is. Self-sabotage. Masochism. Sadism. Choosing toxic partners because that's what I learned with the dynamic of mommy and daddy or a caretaker. Let's hit that object. Let's hit that object. Whee! That's the way this works. That's really the way this works. You want to stop fucking up your life, then look at the areas of your life that are very subconscious and unconscious, that are on autopilot, that are repeating patterns, that are comfortable and familiar, that you're now starting to realize, there's something strange about this. I wake up on a daily basis and do things that I don't want to do. I talk to people that I'm not even comfortable with, that I don't even like, that I'm not even attracted to. What's going on with me? Is something happening to me? It's not happening to you, it's happening for you. You maybe previously thought that things happened to you, but they're happening for you. They always have been happening for you, right? And when you can look at what traumatized you, and instead of seeing it as what happened to you and realize that it happened for you, you can look at your trauma as a gift. You know that? Yeah, you can look at your trauma as a gift. It fucked you up, but it also woke you up. It threw you into sleep, but it also woke you up from that drunken slumber, right? It helped you gain a very certain and essential level of awareness to challenge everything that you believe, right? This journey of healing that I have been on has been absolutely utmost and nothing short of profound, right? It has guided me into awareness. And it's just such a powerful experience. And it has allowed me to choose to break repetition compulsion. And it has helped me with just so much that I didn't see previously. By the way, there is a saying that goes, you can't see that which you are not a vibration for, right? What you are not a vibration for is essentially invisible to you, right? Repetition compulsion is one channel. Maybe it's channel 1. You can choose channel 5, right? You can choose. This sounds like the Matrix, red pill versus blue pill. How far down the rabbit hole do you want to go? I'm not going to spoil that movie for anyone who hasn't seen it, but I do highly recommend it for everyone. It's essentially a documentary. It's not even a. I mean, it's a movie. It's a movie, but it's essentially a documentary. Do you feel like you're asleep? Do you feel like you're just going through the same fucking motions every single day? Why do you do what you do? What do you actually want? Do you feel like you're being used by comfort and familiarity? All this and more on Channel Awaken.